you guys. We'll kick things off. I've got the easy part today, you guys. My name's James Krieger. I'm a partner here at ClickRain Inc. And I have the fun job of just welcoming everybody. So thank you guys so much for coming here. So I had got a call from Deanne, end of the winter, early spring. I'm losing track of time here. And she said, hey, we've got this campaign coming up and it's a really big deal and we'd like you guys to be a part of it. And so at ClickRain and Lemonly, we had just got done meeting, talking about our internship program. And we always want it to line up certainly with the things that we can help out with, but we want it to be impactful and meaningful for the crew as well. And so we had just met internally and we're talking over options. And not so ironically, Deanne called like the next day. And so it was just a perfect match. So we're going to talk a little bit more about the campaign and how important it is. But ClickRain and Lemonly, we're thrilled to be a part of this. We're thrilled that everybody is here today. Thank you guys so much for showing up here. And again, I'm just going to kick it off here over to Dr. Jamie Nold, and he's going to talk a little bit more about the campaign. Jamie, thank you, sir.
Well, good morning, and thank you for being here. First, I'd like to introduce Dr. Stabem. She hates it when I do that, but Dr. Stabem, our superintendent, and we just thank her for her support in backing us and helping us through this process as well as we work with our community to address absenteeism and student absenteeism. So thank you also to ClickRain and Lemonly for their support through this whole process too. We'd reached out to see if there's a way that we could partner with them to be able to have this campaign, and they were more than willing and came up with some great ideas. We just had to give them some of the things we thought of. It was very disjointed, and they did an incredible job putting that together. So when we saw some of the final products, which I won't take away all the luster of, but it was outstanding. It was truly what we were looking for. So we see a rise in absenteeism across the United States. We see that across South Dakota, and we truly see that here in Sioux Falls. And it's a significant factor because we know that if we can get kids to school, we can get them an education. We can truly get them what they need to be successful in their next steps. And so we truly need to address that absenteeism and see how we can combat that to get kids in school on a regular basis. And so as we were going through that, we really truly focused on relationships. And we received a $1.5 million grant from the state of South Dakota and went through and invested that into people. Many of our attendance liaisons are here today. And those are 6 individuals that work at 6 specific schools to go out and build relationships with people. And they go to the homes, they work with the families, they work with the kids that are in those homes and get them to school. And that's truly what we're trying to do, is get kids to school so we can get them a better education so that they can be very successful in our community. And so when we looked at that whole process, we knew it was a lot about relationships. We also knew we needed to include our community, and our community needed to be a strong support of that, because without our community support, without the parents, without the business leaders, without the individuals that work in our community, live in our community, we knew that it would not be successful. And so one of those branches that we looked at was the relationships and going home and doing that. The other part we did was the community aspect. And so to get the word out, we partnered up with ClickRain and Lemonly, and the Show Up campaign truly met what we were looking for in trying to show up for kids. We need kids to show up to school to get them an education. We need our community to show up to help kids to be there. And we truly need those partners that we have in the community to show up on a daily basis and help the schools to be successful. And truly it is a community effort, because we know this is going to be the future workforce. These are going to be the individuals that come into the jobs, into the businesses here to be able to make our community successful. And without them here doing that, and without them in school gaining that education, they will not be as successful. We also want to teach them the traits of being at school and being in attendance and being there on time, because we know that that'll also work into their future employment sites as well. We also know those that do not come to school and are absent at a high level do not gain that education. And then it can be a draw sometimes on our community and other resources that we would need to supply. In turn of that, we'd love to have them have that education that they're actually putting into the pot, and they're actually helping out our community in a lot of different ways. So we know it is truly a community effort. We have great community partners, no question about that. They come in and help our schools. We have so many businesses that have partnered up with schools and said, you know what, we're going to take on this school, and we're going to make sure that this school is a better place. They help support the teachers, they get supplies for kids, they come in and they become mentors at those schools. So we know when our community comes in and helps, it makes our school such a stronger place to be. So we thank again our community support. We're going to look to even pull on that more as we get kids to school. And we thank you for our partnership with ClickRain and Lemonly to help us to be able to get the word out there. So thank you. I'll have Deanne Conrad come up and she'll share a little bit more about the campaign.
This is super exciting for all of us in the Sioux Falls School District, and I hope we've ignited a flame in our community as well. And that's really the goal of this campaign, is to start having that conversation. A lot of times attendance, you might see a student who is not in school, but you know that it's during the school day. What can we as a community do in order to show up for those kids? Might we roll down our window and say, hey, can I help you show up today? So we hope that that tagline of showing up is really something that doesn't feel difficult for the community to say or to ask. How can I help you show up? Hey, can I, get you some support to show up for school? So we want to take away that feeling of, getting it in someone else's business, and really encourage the community to stand with us and to invite kids to show up. Our attendance liaisons are ready and willing to remove any barriers that are out there in our community in terms of transportation, food, medical assistance, anything like that. And so we really just hope this campaign will help rally the support of the community and create greater awareness that attendance is a critical piece to a child's successful education. We did have a conversation. I cast out a couple of cold calls in our community, and when I spoke with James and he mentioned his summer interns and the possibility of having them work on this campaign, it was like just the right mix. We wanted these students, these young adults who aren't so far from their own K-12 experience, but probably aren't so far from their own adult experience either, that they can see the value of showing up and the value of attendance. So when we had this opportunity to connect with Click Rain and Lemonly, it was like everything was falling together. We can do a lot of communication in the Sioux Falls School District. We can push information out, but we've been doing that for years. And obviously, we needed to do more than just communicate out to families about the importance of schools. So we needed a robust strategy, and that's what Click Rain and Lemonly allowed us to create. So we are just thrilled. The interns are going to take over now and tell you a little bit more about the campaign and their involvement here, but we really hope our community is able to stand with us on this, because strong schools make a strong community, and a strong community is needed for strong schools. So with that, I'll turn it over to the interns.
So this is the intern slide. My name is Joey Gellerman. I'm the marketing intern at Click Rain. I still have 1 year left at USD. And Matt Scott couldn't be here with us today, but he was the design intern for Click Rain as well.
And I'm Deirdre Newell. I am the design intern at Lemonly, and I just graduated from the University of Cincinnati this past spring.
And I'm Alex Muntz. I am the animation intern at Lemonly, and I just graduated from Southeast Tech.
So what we really wanted to start off this project was really just to get to know the project and the awareness campaign ourselves. So I created did a lot of research to really gain our knowledge for this problem, and what we found with the statistics, it's very impactful, and it's very impactful even more than Sioux Falls than with all of the whole country. So we knew that this was a big project for us and that we needed to help in any way.
So from the beginning, the school district knew that they wanted this campaign to feel very happy and uplifting, even though it chronicles a very serious subject. So this tone is carried over into the visual direction with a bright, punchy color palette and some fonts that have this nice handwritten feel to them. Matt did a great job creating a lot of the initial visual assets for this, including these t-shirts that we are wearing and that billboard. which has messaging in both English and Spanish to reach a wide variety of audiences, as well as these digital banner ads and social media posts that Alex then was able to animate.
Yeah. So for those of you who don't know, infographics is kind of Lemonly's wheelhouse. So to have an infographic as the landing page was kind of a no-brainer. So Deirdre put together this awesome infographic, and we truly believe it does a really good job of breaking down a complicated subject matter and making it digestible for anybody in the family, whether it's the kids, the parents, the grandparents, or just the all-around community.
So I think, the four of us have spent a lot of time working on this project, and I think it's very near and dear to our hearts for different reasons. So for me, I'm not from Sioux Falls or South Dakota at all, so this was the first project I was really able to work on during my internship here, and it was just such a great way to feel involved and connected to the Sioux Falls community.
Yeah, so I am from Sioux Falls, so it was very close to my heart to solve this problem and be a part of the solution. So also ClickRain is around the area of where the chronic absenteeism problem exists, so it's very near dear to our heart, and we just wanted to help in any way that we could.
Yeah, and I'm not too far removed from high school, as these two probably aren't either. So in high school for me, it was really something I wasn't aware of. But right when we got into the research, it was very prominent that first of all, this wasn't just a Sioux Falls problem, but it was a national problem. So I'm glad we were all, as two companies together, able to put our talents together and really make something impactful in the community. So, James, you want to come back up and close it off?
Sure. So as you guys can see, it was a really cool campaign, and we're excited to see things live and out there running on billboards right now and some of the other initiatives. Want to thank you guys for coming again. This is awesome. Great to see everyone here. We'll open up for questions, and I'm certainly not going to be the one answering all the questions, but I can help answer questions here. So if anyone has anything, we can meet one-on-one, or feel free to throw out any questions that any of the press might have as well. So, yes, sir, John.
I think Dr. Norton, in a briefing a couple of weeks ago, you mentioned that you'd spent about 1/3 of this grant. How much specifically was on this particular marketing campaign?
This amount, it'll vary a little bit going through. We had so much allocated for each of the years. Between each of the years, we have about $10,000 or so that we would each year to be able to allocate. This specific part of it, we're still working through some of those details of costs. But that is part that we have going all the way through. Some of that's going to be on postcards that we send home to kids that are individualized, that our liaisons are writing out handwritten, and some of that is other things that we're sending home as far as mailers, information, being able to make sure we get information out there of where they can get resources, if they need help with food assistance, if they need help with transportation assistance. So that's all lumped into one, and we're still working through some of those processes of this specific cost.
So this is a 3-year campaign?
It is a 3-year campaign, yep.
I will jump in and say all the strategy, the creative, everything that ClickRain and Lemonly brought to the table, there's not a dollar charge for any of that. So it's all donated. And I made sure that the Sioux Falls School District knew that, hey, this is still ClickRain and Lemonly's standard work. So we have our directors, our team members overseeing everything, working on the campaign with our phenomenal internship crew. So they're a very talented group. I think we had 70 or 80 applicants for their roles, and these 4 with Matt were the ones that rose to the top. So we have a really creative crew. But as far as all of our time, it gets really expensive to pay an agency to do creative and to pull these campaigns together. And so all that was done pro bono.
Obviously, that helped us out immensely as a I don't want to speak on their behalf on that part of it, but when they talked to us about that and have the interns you start to go into a little bit of skepticism, well, we hope, and there's, this will be at a level that you will be very pleased with, and I will tell you it was, absolutely. So, give a lot of credit to the interns and the ability they have, and people always worry about our future. Our future's in incredible hands. We have great kids out there, no question about it, and young adults coming up that do an outstanding job. So we have a very bright future, and let there be no question we can help that through the educational process.
For sure.
campaign more geared towards like students and their parents and families getting, like showing up, or kind of more towards community members who might be able to, you know, push them towards school and help them show up?
Yes, on all fronts. I mean, we truly show up. We have this for the kids. I show up. I show up on a daily basis because it's what's going to be the best for my future. And it's part of what we can use as our liaisons talk to them, that showing up, that's the biggest part. Show up on day 1, day 2. Let's make sure we get that plan in place. So it's for the students. It's for the parents. They need to show up and help their kids to get there. And so no question, it's for the parental part of that, of they need to be showing up in their kids' lives and get them their education that they need. It's also for our staff. Our staff all have these t-shirts, and they show up on a daily basis to help kids, and they're there. Our substitutes, we need them to show up every single day. And then our community, as you go community-wide, the Show Up campaign truly can hit on every part. We'll just tailor it to that group. And so it has to be a whole community effort to be able to have this to be a successful campaign.
Good question.
Do you have any numbers you can share on absenteeism in the Sioux Falls School District?
And it'll go off a variety of, depending on what data source you look at. With the state, you're going to look somewhere at that low 80% as far as attendance rates. It'll depend on if you're going off the state's chronic absenteeism, which means a child will miss 10% or more of their school year. And 10% or more of the school year ends up being about 17 days in the Sioux Falls School District off a 174-day calendar. And so there's somewhere in that 17% or so that will miss those number of days. And so that's significant when you're talking, a percent of anywhere from 10 to 15 to 20% that'll be missing. Now, some of those will be for illnesses or things of that nature, which incredibly important to keep them home when they're ill. But some of that will be just because of the lack of getting to school or some resources that may have stood in the way of that. And those are the ones that we're truly trying to work with to help them to support to get their child to school.
Anything else, you guys?
I will say that we also, and you saw a board report on that with our attendance liaisons, and most of them are standing here, all of them are here today. Those schools that they worked with directly saw anywhere from a 1% to a 3% improvement in their attendance rates. And for the Sioux Falls School District, it still saw a decline overall in absenteeism, in attendance rates. And so absenteeism was on the increase still. But in those 6 schools, we saw a change. And in one of those schools that we specifically highlighted, it's the first positive increase that way that they've had in about 15 years. And so to be able to see that change, to get it going backwards on an upward trajectory is incredibly important, because we need to have those kids in school. So where those 6 liaisons were, it made a definite impact. And it's all about relationships.
And you just want to raise your hand if you're a liaison.
Our attendance liaisons, yeah.
All right, we can continue to answer questions on the side if anyone thinks of anything else. Otherwise, thank you all so much for coming. We really appreciate it. We're excited about the kickoff of the school here, and all these guys have real jobs to get to now, right? So we'll let them get back to work. So thanks, everyone. We appreciate it.